Welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Cubs bullpen so far this season. As we take a look at where the Cubs bullpen ranks in a couple important categories, ERA ranking 24th in the MLB, walk percentage 23rd in the MLB, K percentage 29th in the MLB, and then K percentage minus walk percentage 27th in the MLB. These are all concerning for a team that is currently fighting for a Central Division title, things that are going to have to be addressed. I've graded all the Cubs reliever outings this season on a scale of 0 to 100, where 70 is an average, so kind of like a grading scale in school where we have anything in the 90 range is an A, anything in the 80 B, anything in the 70 would be a C, anything in the 60s a D, and then 50s or below is an F. We'll start by looking at the average scores for the Cubs relievers this year. This is one way to look at it. We've got Drew Pomeranz. Hasn't been seen a whole lot this season, more recently, but he is leading the way with Daniel Palencia second, and Brad Keller, who has been quite possibly the best surprise out of this Cubs bullpen this year. And then Caleb Thielbar, who is a close second there, who's been really impressive. Is a guy that I wasn't as sure about going into the season. Here we'll slice it another way with A grade outing percentage, so a score that would be an A grade, so 90 to 100, the percentage of all their starts that are A's. We've got Caleb Thielbar and Julian Merriweather leading the way at 39% of their starts being graded as that A. So really to see who's had the top performances this year, or the highest percentage of top performances out of the bullpen. We can look at that the opposite way as well. We can look at the F grade outing percentage. So you want to have a low percentage here. So we see Palencia and Pomeranz with no F grades, which is partly why they were atop that average grade chart we saw to begin. But we see, Gavin Hallowell, he's only had 5 appearances and 2 of his 5 appearances were graded as F. So that is why he is at the bottom there. But the shocking thing to me, not shocking if you've watched the Cubs this year, but if you just looked at the A grade percentage and now you look at the F grade percentage, and Julian Merriweather, 33% F grade as well. So he's had some really good performances and some really bad performances. He would be the definition of a very volatile reliever for the Cubs. And the last slice we're going to look at this by is A, B, or C grade. So basically they did about league average or better. So you'd want to have a high A, B, or C grade outing percentage. And how about Daniel Palencia? So no D or F grades for him. He's been really good so far this year. Pomeranz second. Ethan Roberts, who's been up and down a couple times. Brad Keller, who I've been impressed with. And then Caleb Thielbar there as well. You see some of the guys who struggled and maybe didn't get quite as much time down at the bottom with Nate Pearson currently in Iowa. Eli Morgan on the IL right now. Hallowell with only 5 appearances, and then Presley, who has been, I think, a little bit of a disappointment, but something that a lot of Cubs fans kind of expected given his age and just inability to strike out guys so far. And Porter Hodge not necessarily doing all that great either. So one of those reasons the Cubs bullpen is ranked so low in a lot of those categories. Here we can see all of the Cubs relievers by those grades, and this is a minimum 5 appearances. And is not necessarily in any particular order. Some of the things that stick out to me though, Julian Merriweather again with the 7 A performances and also 6 F performances. Porter Hodge kind of just hovering with a lot of those average performances of 7, and then a fairly high amount of D performances with 5. Presley with 4 F performances, not great. Palencia, a lot of this average performances with 7, but no bad performances, so that sticks out. Some of those guys in the middle that have been have a fairly low number of the bad performances, like Brad Keller, we mentioned Palencia, Pomeranz, and Thielbar. Those are the guys that kind of stick out to me. Some of the guys who have been good so far and probably working their way into the circle of trust. Here we take a look at a plot where we've got walks per 9 innings on the x-axis, strikeouts per 9 innings on the y-axis. We've got all the Cubs relievers pointed out on this graph. We would want guys to be in the top left corner, meaning they strike out a lot of guys and don't walk a lot of guys. Reasons for that is we just want less balls put in play. Even though the Cubs have a very good defense, we would like less balls put in play and then less free guys be on base. And when you have more guys on base, balls put in play can score some runs more easily. So that's why we want guys that strike out a lot and don't walk many. So the best guys for that this year for the Cubs have been Brad Keller and Drew Pomeranz. Again, limited pitching for Pomeranz so far, but he's been really good. We see Palencia and Thielbar over there as well, as well as some of those up and down guys, Hollowell and Roberts. Unfortunately, we see Porter Hodge, Julian Merriweather, and Ryan Presley not necessarily over there where we'd want them to be, and those have been our high leverage guys. So that's why the Cubs bullpen is in disarray at this current moment, but we've got some time to figure it out. We'll get into that a little bit more in a little bit. For now, let's move on to this dashboard, which shows all the relievers with at least 10 innings pitched this season in the MLB. We've got the blue dots, as you'll see a couple here, are Cubs relievers. We got Julian Merriweather here. This is the same graph that we just saw for only Cubs pitchers, but for everyone in MLB with at least 10 innings pitched. So again, Presley here. Expect someone better here to be Brad Keller. So this just kind of points out the Cubs do not have really any of those outlier closer guys that you would want over here as the high leverage guys that you're going to use. It's really nobody other than Brad Keller here for the Cubs. Bit of a problem and something we are going to have to address. There's Thielbar, Palencia, and Porter Hodge. This has got to be Mason. Yeah, Mason Miller. Just a couple guys that you're going to want to target maybe in free agency, or not free agency, and at the trade deadline. We use this to target some of these guys. Now, I don't know who it's going to be, but some of these guys, like, wow. I didn't know Louis Varland was that impressive for Minnesota, but 10.7 Ks per 9 and just 1.86 walks per 9. The main illustration of this is we don't have those high strikeout, low walk guys that are going to be wanted at the end of the game. So either are we going to find it in Iowa, or are we going to get it near the trade deadline? That's a question that we're going to have to answer. But these top guys here, Jeff Hoffman, interesting. We just don't have one. And so I love looking through something like this where we can see the guys who are the standout guys in the MLB, but then also see where the Cubs rank, which is currently just not good enough. So we'll see if the Cubs can make deals for any of these guys. There's Mark Leiter Jr. I just find this a really fascinating way to look at where our bullpen is versus where we need to be and where we need to address as we enter the trade deadline. So where do we improve? One place we could look is Iowa. So let's take a look at that similar graph for the Iowa Cubs this year. And one guy that does pop out on here that I'm looking to see a little bit more in Chicago is the lefty Tom Cosgrove, who we acquired from the Padres. Has only 2 appearances so far this year in Chicago, so we'll see. Palencia, he's already up in Chicago, but would like to see him enter more of a setup role. Gavin Hollowell has gotten a little bit of time in Chicago, maybe a little more. Ethan Roberts has also looked a little bit well. And an intriguing guy we could look a little bit more at is Keegan Thompson. He's had some good outings in Iowa. His last one on Sunday in Toledo was 3 innings, 4 Ks, and 1 walk with no hits allowed. So a guy can go multiple innings, and he did that a couple of years ago in Chicago and just hasn't quite gotten back to it yet. So I'd love to see him get back to that. Another potential, we'll see Cade Horton right now as a chunk guy, probably more of a starter, but once Shota comes back, who knows? So maybe we can use him in a role like that. Michael Fulmer's been going multiple innings in Iowa and showing some pretty decent strikeout numbers as of late. Another guy we'll be getting back off the IL pretty soon will be Ryan Brazier, but 37-year-old, so doubt he's really going to get the consistent strikeout numbers at the big league level. And then Luke Little will be another guy I'll throw out there. He did have a really bad one outing this year in in San Diego, but for Chicago, where he walked 4 guys. No hits allowed, but walked 4 guys in 1 inning and couldn't get out of the inning. So maybe he'll get another shot. The one guy that's kind of been disappointing here to see is Jack Neely. He was a guy who came over in that Mark Leiter Jr. deal, and he's just walking too many guys in Iowa right now, so not necessarily someone we're going to look at right now until he gets things figured out. A couple more guys on the IL that probably won't, I mean, as of now, I don't see them coming back anytime soon, is Tyson Miller. Eli Morgan, who knows, but he's struggled in his time in Chicago this year. And then Yency Almonte, all on the IL right now without a clear timetable for return. Tyson Miller was transferred to the 60-day IL, so I don't expect him back anytime soon. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know in the comments what you think of the Cubs bullpen. You don't have to say what you're thinking right now, because it's probably not great based off of those stats, but what you think the Cubs can do to improve, maybe someone you think they should go after near the trade deadline. Let me know in the comments. Again, I appreciate it. Until next time, go Cubs.